Hello, my name is Beverley Ward and I've been asked to show you a selection of the things that I've beaded over the years. Many of the items take many days to make or even weeks. Let me share my screen with you and I can tell you all about it. These are some of the different types of beads that you can use when you're beading. They range in size. The smaller the bead, the larger the number. So a size 15 bead would be 15 beads to the inch. A size 8 bead would be 8 beads to the inch. You can see some different ones here. I think these are probably the size 8s that I've just mentioned, and these are size 6s. You can get bugle beads, which are here, and these I think are size 11s. There's lots of different stitches that you can do as well. Many of them can be done flat or circular. There's the most popular probably is a spiral, daisy, brick stitch, netting, peyote. Peyote with a twist, that's quite a new stitch that we've been doing. Herringbone, right angle weave, cubic right angle weave. Well, that's apparently is the most difficult one, everybody says, and a lot of people have never mastered that one. You can do bead crochet, and you can also do work on a loom. This is a typical sort of setup that I would use when I was doing my beading. At the back here you've got a beading mat, 2 different sorts of thread. This is a fishing line. This is Nymo thread, which used to be used in boot making. And this is the wax that we wax the thread with. You need a needle and some scissors, and these are the beads. Different sorts of packets of beads you can get. These are a packet, they come in 5 grams, 10 grams. These are little tubes of beads as well. This is another typical bead board that I would work on. This is a large star that I'm doing, and you can see all the different beads set out on here. These are numbered tiles, so that will say A, B, C, D, for easy reference when I'm working from a chart. This is a typical chart that you would use. You can see here it says 4G, 2G, so that's how I work it. And these are magnetic strips that I put on the chart so that I can work along. And you can see on the left here I've ticked the rows that I've done. This is another sort of pattern that you might work from. You might have the written word and then some pictures that you can work from. Recently I've been doing a secret bead along, and on the left hand side you will see my selection of beads. They send you a list of the bead requirements until you put them together, but you don't know what you're going to be beading, and then they send you some prep work. On the right hand side you can see my prep work. I've made some rivolis, bezeled some rivolis here in different colours, done a white one here and a blue one here. On day 1, this was what we made on day 1, which was the necklace part of it. This is one of the elements that we made from it with pearls round. On day 3, we have one with Swarovski crystals around it. On day 4, the 2 halves are joined together. You can see there's a hole in here. Obviously, we're going to be threading this on here somehow. And this is the start of day 5. This is day 7, where it's got this loop on it now, and I've put some pearls around there. We also made a clasp for it like this, which I didn't too much like. I think this was meant to go through the loop there and the loop the other side, but I made this clasp because I liked it better. And this is the finished necklace. You can see I made a white version. This is the one we saw earlier with the pearls round, and this is the Swarovski one. So the hole in the bead actually went along this, didn't it? Not on the necklace that I'd initially thought. Beads also come in packs with a pattern and all the beads that you need to make what you're doing. This is a Christmas stocking that I will be beading. When I teach beading for the first time, I normally get the girls to do a spiral. These are the different spirals that you can do, all from the same pattern. These are using size 11 beads. This is size 8 beads, bugle beads and drops. So just from the same pattern, you can get all those different types of necklaces, you know, different looks to them. You can do daisy chains as well. Here's some of the daisy chains that I've made. The Guild is a good start for beginners. This is their introduction to beadwork books. I think they cover most things that you would ever need to know, all the different stitches, and give you lots of different projects that you can do. They also do a quarterly journal, which you can see here on the left. These are a few of the things that you might get in one of the journals. These were beaded beads. This was a shell necklace, and I made a beaded clasp here and a pair of earrings to go with it. These is a brooch on the right there. These are, remember I talked about the thread heaven where we condition our thread? This is a little box and that you can use, and this is one done by halfpennies to keep your thread heaven in. That's a Cellini spiral. This one's interesting. This is, with this you can move it. It has elements you can move, so you can twist it over and over and over. It's made from all these triangles, and the way you put the triangles together enable you to rotate it. It's called a kaleidocycle. And this slide shows you all the different faces that you can create as you turn your kaleidocycle. This was a Zoom workshop I did on beaded beads with the Guild. And this is some of the other beads we did that day. This is a pineapple. And these are the beads that I made to make into this necklace. This is done with Swarovski crystals. And a lariat of leaves graduating in colour. This was a project that the Guild asked me to do because they were teaching at shows. They needed some samples. So I asked my Monday morning class if they'd help me make some samples, and these were the samples that we made and sent off to the Guild, and so they can use them for teaching aids. They also do modules that you can do, like a course, so you can learn each of the different stitches, and they set you projects. These were a couple of bracelets on the left here and a tassel that I made because I did the ladders module. And then you submit it, and they give you a qualification at the end. These are some of the designs that I've done. This is using the cubic right angle weave. This is the difficult stitch that people can't do for some reason. This was a necklace that was inspired here by this Murano glass bead that a friend brought me back from Italy. And it has the little tiny beaded beads all around the edge there. And I made a bracelet and necklace to go with that. Some more spirals. This is a double spiral with spikies on it. Different sort of spiral again, another double spiral, but this one's got pearl beads in it here and a bracelet to match. This is another spiral with the drop beads. This was a mix of drop beads, so graduating in colour. These were some resin flowers that I bought from a bead show, and I had to wire each one individually, so I put little beads in the centre of every flower and wired them, and then I wired them onto here. This was a plastic tube that was covered with embroidery floss, and then I sewed and wired all these beaded flowers onto it. And this is the clasp on the back here, which is just a magnetic clasp, so it's easy to put on and off. And inside the tubing here I put a piece of wire so that I could shape it into a necklace shape. This was a glass bead that a friend gave me that her daughter-in-law had made, and I made a bail for it and a herringbone necklace for that. This is a peyote stitch using different sizes of beads. So these are triangular beads and these are what's called delicate beads, and it's just by changing the bead size changes the shape and makes these all these shell shapes, and then you just make them smaller and smaller till you get to your clasp at the top. This is a star that I made to help a friend. She was making a star necklace and she didn't know how to put her star together. So I made this star and then made a circle and a bail and put it onto a spiral necklace there. Another one inspired by a friend. We were at a show and she said, "Oh, I love that donut." And I said, "Oh, I can design something that you can use to hold that." So I designed this necklace and made the circle in the center and the herringbone necklace to go with it. This one was inspired by this bracelet that I made using the same rose pattern. I incorporated it into this triangle, made these separate beaded beads along here and here. And the herringbone necklace is in 2 colours and a pair of earrings to match. Again, experimenting with triangles. This one's got a hole in the centre with handmade beads as well as the decoration. And then this one is reversible. So this has this on this side and on the right, on the other side it has this flower with the bracelet and earrings to match. On the left is a Cellini spiral. Again, I said to you about stitches can be done flat or circular. This is a circular peyote. And on the right is a Dutch spiral, a different sort of spiral. With the Cellini spiral, because they're hollow, you can put a piece of wire through the centre, and you can see I've made a bracelet here with wires through the centre. There's some other necklaces that I've beaded. One on the left uses bugles. I think the one on the left was a spellbound kit with flowers, and the one on the right has a handmade bead in the centre there, and then I've made up the rest with other elements and a herringbone cord there. This has a twisted tassel, which is quite fun to do. These are bead crochet. If you have a history of being able to crochet, I think it's a lot easier to do bead crochet. I find it very difficult to teach left-handed people to crochet. They just don't seem to be able to manage it, but it's quite fun to do. It also is a top stitch thread. And you can see on the left the bracelet I made with white thread, and on the right the bracelet I made using black thread. It just shows how important the colour of the thread is when you're beading, because that's made it 2 different tones. Some tassels. This was a class I did with the girls bezeling riverlies down here. You can see this is the necklace I made, and this is some of the ones that they made in different colours. You know, you would hopefully get that done in a day at a workshop, and then when you went home you'd make your spiral to put it onto. This is another sample of a circular stitch. This is a circular netting stitch. And these beads are made from paper. These necklaces were made using individual beads made from paper. In between I put some little crystals. You roll up your paper, stick it together, varnish each of the beads, and then away you go. Some bracelets that I did, and some earrings. This was another necklace I did inspired by the bead merchant. I think I bought a kit for a bracelet, but didn't want the bracelet, so made it into a necklace. More flowers from a book by Diane Fitzgerald. And another flower by Jean Campbell. This one was a downloaded pattern. So you download your pattern, you can make this from it, and then I've made a spiral and added these little flowers to make it into a necklace. Jean Power, very famous bead person, she does the beadalongs. And that was another beadalong she did one year. Designed by Patrick Duggan. This has a square crystal in the centre and a very attractive clasp on that one. In this one I made a pair of earrings from one of the sections. And this is on like a velvet cord on that one. Heidi Jenkins, she's come to us on many occasions to teach us her designs. Again, you can only get her designs if you do one of her workshops. I've changed the colour of the this part here. So on this side it's pink, and on this side it's blue. So this design is reversible just by changing these wings here. So another one we did with her. And another one. And these are some of the ones that the girls did. You can see on the right here. So the ones that I did. Lovely lariat. This is Fran Griffiths' work. Well, beaded by me, but designed by Fran Griffiths. She uses a lot of these little half Tyler beads. We'll see later on a closer up what those beads look like. And chenille stitch. Shona Bevan, she does beautiful designs as well. You can only get her patterns if you attend a workshop. So these are some of the workshops that I did with her. This has a very attractive bead in the centre, again a reversible pendant. It's different on the other side. I think it's a different colour on the other side. And this is another one we did with her, donuts. This was done from a kit. When you attend her classes, she sometimes sells you some of her kits because you can't always get to her workshops because they were all over the country. I could only go to ones that were local to me. This is another secret bead along by Jean Power. Obviously on each day we did a different element. We probably would have done this one on day 1, day 2, day 3, and then the necklace and the clasp on future days. This is some more of her patterns. This is peyote with a twist. When you do this, you can incorporate flowers on it. So this was a flower one that I did, and I thought, well, it's a bit plain. I'd rather have a pendant on it. So I did one of Shona's flowers there and made a bell for it that I put on the bottom of that. Another sample of peyote with a twist with graduating flowers, graduating colours. White, gold and black, and a pendant here with a Polaris bead in the centre, which is like a matte bead. This was a pattern that I downloaded from the internet to make this pendant here by Nikki Ferrugiaro. Placed it onto a peyote with a twist necklace. And a kit by the Bead Merchant. This has different shapes, circles and different shapes, triangles. That was nice to do because all the colours were chosen for me. I didn't have to think about what colours I was going to use in that necklace. This was a workshop we did with a new designer, Fiona Scott. She came to my house, to my Monday morning class, and did that with us. Some other designs here that I've made. A hazel arch. I like her designs. This one, when I wore it, kept flopping together, so I did a modification on that and put some beads down the centre here and some beads up here to hold it in place, and that sits on my neck quite nicely now. I love flowers, so this is other designs by her. This was another kit by the Bead Merchant. On this bracelet, you thread it through the buckle and then it's poppered underneath there to hold it together. This one was done with leftover beads. Each one of these elements is made separately from different colour beads and then herringbone, and then threaded together into a necklace, and then it's all joined together at the top here with the clasp. This one you think hasn't got a clasp, but it has, because it's underneath this element here. This moves obviously around, and it's a magnetic clasp underneath there. This necklace by Liz Thornton can come apart, so you can divide it there and put this catch on it and then make it into the necklace I've made on the right. So you can wear it as a lariat, or you can wear it as a necklace. This is another beaded bead onto a necklace here. And you can make other shapes of things. You can make rings. You can see this triangular rings here. And these are some necklace fastenings and a bookmark. And some other necklaces, pendants for necklaces. Brooches and hair slides. This is a hair slide. There's some Armistice Day poppies that you can make. Some other flowers, and you've seen him before, the little owl. I do this when I go on holiday. You would probably think I'm nuts, but I take a picture of all my necklaces that I'm taking with me, because I think if my suitcase doesn't come back, then at least I know what jewellery I had in there. And this is another holiday selection I did. This is inspired by work by Diane Fitzgerald. These were ginkgo leaves made into a lariat. These designs use the Super Duo beads. They have recently brought out a lot of different shape beads. These ones are called the Super Duos. I actually do like the Super Duos. Some of the others are triangular shapes and diamond shapes and all sorts of different shapes, and there's so many of them. I tend not to use them. I tend to stick to the basic seed beads. But I actually do like these Super Duo ones, and I've done quite a few things using those. As you can see here, some different ones using them. This one's using a variety of different colours on the left here of the Super Duos. Here's some other necklaces that I've done using crystals. On the left, this is very beautiful in the flesh, all made of crystals. Doesn't look much in a photo. And then this one has got little tiny pearls in the centre there. Some of my other favourite flower necklaces on the left there. They're by various different designers. This is by Heather Kingsley Heath. She works a lot in size 15 beads, and so you can imagine 15 beads to the inch, how tiny those little flowers are. Just some of the different ones I've done. I think I was lending those to a friend, that's why those are labelled up. She was doing an exhibition. The next few slides I'm going to show you netting. Remember I said you could do circular netting? Well, this is flat netting. There's some samples of some circular netting there. It's a what's called double circular netting. This is single circular netting. Sorry, single flat netting. This one's got little flowers around here. This one on the left is quite an easy one to do, great for beginners. These are some bracelets that I did. You can see in this bottom one, all different size of pearls and some bugle beads as the base of my bracelet on that. And this is leaf shapes incorporated onto, this is a square stitch bracelet I did on there. And these are beaded beads, so this will be a bead underneath there with all little spikes on it. Remember I told you about the Tyler beads. These are the half Tyler beads. This is a bracelet I made to match that necklace by Frank Griffiths. You can see it here in white as well. And these are some of the square beads that they produce. Mickey Ferrugiaro again, a pretty bracelet that has poppers underneath there, so you can't see the fastening when you're wearing it. These are some other designs I made by her. The flying geese, this reminds me of my patchwork that I do. This one uses a rivoli here in the centre, you can see. You can't see the clasp again, it's poppered underneath. This is a very simple technique of stringing. You just string onto a piece of elastic, whatever bead you want, tie a reef knot, put a bit of glue on it, and you've got instant bracelet. There's a story about this bracelet, well, now necklace on the left here. I took this into a workshop and said, oh, do you like my bracelet? And my friend said, oh, can I try it on? I said, yes, of course you can try it on. So she tried it on, and because it snapped in the middle. So I thought, well, I'm not going to make another, I'm not going to join that together and make it again. So I actually threaded it onto this wire and made a couple of little beaded beads that I popped on the end here. As you rotate that, each side of those is a different colour. You can see here pink and blue. And the bracelets on the right I made, if I put on a necklace and I haven't got a bracelet to go with it, I might pick up one of those that I could wear with it. These are bracelets, again strung onto elastic, all made of triangles, all tiny little triangles here and here. And these are beaded beads threaded onto a herringbone bracelet there. Some more bracelets that I made. A lot of them using peyote stitch. These are all made with Swarovski crystals. And a necklace at the bottom there, a spiral necklace, all made out of crystals. And earrings. And these earrings, top right, were made for my daughter-in-law. She wanted some Halloween earrings, so that's what I made for her. This is wire work. You thread your beads onto a wire. I used different size crystals and pearls here, and this is a little tiny crimp bead here. You crimp the bead with the special crimp pliers, and that holds the beads in place on your wires. And I've done 3 together and joined them onto a clasp at the top there. This was inspired by the Coeur de Lion necklaces that I saw in jewellery shops in Windsor. Some more wire work. Some of these use handmade beads. These are handmade beads that I would have picked up at a show. And this is just multiple stringing of size 11 seed beads onto a wire, all put together and crimped at the top there to make a necklace. Handmade beads again, necklaces and bracelets to match. These are done on cord, so you thread your bead onto a cord, make a little macrame clasp there, and then that slides up and down, so you can put your bracelet on and draw up the cords each side. These are other cords that I've done. On this one, I've incorporated knots on my cord there, and these are handmade beads, and little handmade beads again there with the slider clasp made of the macrame. You can see another knot there. This is a kumihimo disc on the right here. This you use with cords, as you can see this is strung with cords here, to make a bracelet or a necklace. Here are some of the bracelets that I made using the cords. These cords were machine knitting cords that I used. I used to do a lot of machine knitting and design patterns for the home machine knitter. And these are some of the threads I had left over, and I thought I could use those to make my kumihimo cords. And here's some more that I did. This is a magnetic clasp and a donut on here, and you can hang little elements on the cords as well. This is a close-up using some rat tail cord, makes a really quite chunky bracelet, and I put glued a clasp onto the end there. My Swarovski bracelets, they're my favourites. And some necklaces and some rings. You can make rings. I've made rings there with using this 4mm Swarovski crystals. The story behind this necklace is that it was designed by a friend, and she said, I'll tell you the story that she told me. She took it to a show, and when she was selling her beaded work, and she thought, I don't really want to make this necklace again because it was expensive to make, and it took me an awfully long time, and I really don't want to make it again, but I want to show it because it's a nice necklace. So she took it along to this show, and her friends, my friend said, the first person that walked up to the stand said, "Oh, I must have that necklace. How much would you charge me to make that necklace?" So she thought, think of a really high number. How much can I charge for this necklace? So she put some price on it, £200 or £250 on it. She thought, oh, she won't want to have that. I won't want to spend that much money. But what did she do? Say, yes, please, make it for me. Can you make it in blue or whatever colour? So she made it for her, but she didn't mind making it because she was getting enough money for it. Normally, the hours that go into making a necklace or a bracelet, you'd never get your money back when you sell it, and people don't want to spend the money on it. I tend not to sell anything for that very reason, because when you've invested a week in making a necklace and then someone says, well, I'll give you a tenner for it, you think, oh, £10 for a week's work? I don't think so. Anyway, this one that I made a bracelet which is on elastic and a pair of earrings to go with it. Some other pendants I made. And some bracelets using the rivelies. You can see the rivelies again here and here. These ones are bezeled, and these are just have a netting over the top of them. Some more beaded beads here that I put onto a bracelet. In the core of this bracelet is a piece of rubber, and you join the rubber together with a sleeve and heat it with a heat gun to make the bracelet the size that you want it. And the top right hand side is all made from the same beads, but just different elements of them. These are handmade beads, just simple stringing onto elastic again. And pearl stringing, you can do pearl stringing. Each one of those beads is knotted in between and put onto a clasp, and it has a special way of finishing the top of it. And the one on the right, each one of these beads is put onto a head pin, all different shapes of pearl beads, and then put onto a wire. It's lovely in the flesh, that one. And I made some bracelets, simple stringing again onto elastic bracelets to go with the pearls. Some other pearl necklaces, double strand on the left there. And I've done beaded boxes. I've done that one just quite recently. And here's some of the other beaded boxes I've done, and a couple of little people. And French beaded flowers. I went mad on those. I made all of those from a book by Katie Dean, with some other ones. And then I did a workshop with the girls to make the orchid that was in Katie's book. Katie couldn't come to us, unfortunately, so we did this one. We made all these separate elements, and then you put all the elements together to make the flower on the right. You put florist stem wires up as the cord, and then bind it with the embroidery floss. Amulet purses were very popular when I first started beading. I like the one on the right, the rose is lovely. Some other pendants that I've made. This pendant comes apart in the centre here. And the one on the right obviously twists. These are keeper beads. It has a plastic keeper bead underneath, and then you bead in peyote stitch and embellish it over the top. And the necklace and bracelet I made doing that. This is loom work. Girls wanted to learn how to do loom beading on a loom. So this is what we did. Some other different necklaces, seahorses. These are some butterflies I made, and I put clips on the back, and I've clipped them to a tree that I have in my dining room. I do bees and the bee here, and dragonflies as well. This was some resin that I did. You can either do it in a mould, or you have a bought form, which is a square form that I bought, and I cut a piece of fabric, put it in the bottom, and then covered it with the resin. This one has dried flowers in it. You can see a dried flower here, and this has a little tiny teddy bear in it, a wooden teddy bear. And this one you can see is finished. I put a bail on it and a chain there. And these are ones I was going to make into a bracelet, these cubes at the top here, but I don't think I ever got round to doing that. But again, fun to do with the resin. These are wine glass charms. If you have a party, you can give your guests a wine glass charm so that they don't lose their glass if they're walking around. Easter eggs. I have an Easter tree, so these go on my Easter tree. You can do pens. These are beaded pens and key rings. And these are dabbers that I use for my phone and iPad. Easy way to navigate round. And letter openers. Quick unpicks for use when I'm in my sewing room. If I do it wrong, it's a very useful quick unpick. I've got a new one now that has a bradawl at the end of it as well. It's great when I'm sewing. These are little teddies, they're about 1 inch high. I made them for the grandchildren. They absolutely adore playing with them. They hide them. And watches. These are beaded beads. You can see the hole in this one that I made so that you can thread it onto there. There with some other white beads there. And these are the ones the girls made in the class I gave. More beaded beads. These are beaded beads flip, so that all moves. These elements here move. You can see a different pattern on that one. And I've knotted that up there. This was another Heidi Jenkins workshop we did. And I made a bracelet on the left there to go with it. More beaded beads. Each one of these is made individually. The circles and the thistle here. And each one of these elements is done individually. More beaded beads. This is called silver silk. So it's like a metal mesh, and you put the finding on the end of it. Now, Christmas, my favourite time. I'll whiz through these because there's so many different Christmas ones that I want to show you. There's bells that we did. These are the ones that the girls did in the class, in the different colours. All things you can hang on the tree. This is a nativity. And this was I set them a Christmas project, my class, every year. The first year I gave them the Santa Claus, and then we had the snowman the following year. Tea lights. Gnomes. And a lovely beaded angel there. Baubles. These are all things that you can hang on the tree, obviously all very tiny, so they're great for trees. Earrings. Everyone loves a Christmas earring. I didn't know what to do with these Christmas designs, and because I do a lot of patchwork as well, I thought, well, I think I'll make a patchwork tree. So I made a patchwork tree. You can see here I've sewn them on. Also, I had some little crackers that I've made. And you can see the crackers here as well. This was a wedding tiara I made for my daughter-in-law for to wear on her wedding day. That was made from French beaded flowers, incorporating wire work. And the kimonos, these take weeks to make. And I did these. This was spring, summer, autumn and winter. And a jigsaw one on the left there, which is quite fun. This was one I did from a beadwork magazine. The chart was so awful I had to rechart the whole thing. It took me, I think, a week to rechart it and then probably months to bead it. But that was worth it. You can see the front and back of it there. And a beaded train. The children love playing with all these little elements that are in here. There's a little lollipop and a parcel and a candy cane there. And then they can change the date over every day, that, you know, towards Christmas. I've done a chest set. This is interesting. This is using different coloured thread. On the center I've used a red, and then I've changed to a pink thread, and then a white thread here and green here. So that uses clear beads, and just by changing the thread colour it changes the colour of the item. Perfume bottle. I think that was just randomly beaded all over, or whatever I fancied. You can do needle cases and scissor cases. This is a ball within a ball within a ball. I think there's about 4 different size balls in there. So you make the smallest one and then bead over the top, and then over the top and over the top, making them larger and larger. Matryoshka dolls. This was a workshop that I did with Sian Nolan and Laura Andrews, and these are some of the other ones that they gave us as on the day. They gave us a choice of these 4 different ones, and I subsequently beaded them when I got home. I think this was a 3-day workshop. A bowl by Mickey Ferrugiaro. Really beautiful bowl. This came in a kit. I bought the pattern and then bought the beads in a kit because she'd put the colours together so beautifully on that one. And finally, a couple of stars. These are what I've been working on the last few weeks. And finally, the owl star. Right. I'll just stop the sharing. Well, thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed seeing my showcase of beads. Hopefully one day we'll be able to get together and you will see some of them in the flesh. Anyway, bye for now. Thank you again for watching.